Santiago McNeil, and welcome to the Attraction Marketing class. Tonight, it is going to be an awesome class. So I am looking forward to it. Now, we know that the focuses of this class is to attract traffic to your website, yourself, and your services. Everybody is going to have a different objective, meaning that a different target audience, and you may have some different avatars, which we're going to talk a little bit about. But once you get that part done, once you get this first part done, which is the who, the what, the when, and the how, and the where, then you've got to put it into a systematic approach, because one thing that never ever happens is one and done. You cannot put something out one time, post your link one time, post your image or your message one time, and expect that you are going to get any results. This is something that must be accomplished consistently over time, so that people can see you as a professional that they want to seek out for the services or content that you have. Does that make sense? Awesome. Let me get some chapstick here. So let's get some of the initial stuff out of the way. The first thing that we're going to talk about, and you're going to be provided with a worksheet to transfer this content into. After that, lip gloss is disgusting. Sorry. I don't know what it's made out of, but it's gross. Anyway, you're going to receive an actual worksheet that will allow you to then, it's actually a workbook that will allow you then to capture all of this information strategically and put it in such a way that you can refer back to it frequently. The reason why you need to refer back to it is because it needs to be a living, breathing document. Many of you have had business plans created, and a lot of times you have them done and they're one and done. You send them off with your articles of organization. If you're starting a business, you send them off to your business developer if you're going to go that route, or you put them in a drawer. And the truth of the matter is that they are supposed to be a living, breathing document, a manual as such that you get to use on a regular and consistent basis. So the first question that I want us to address is, who is your market? Who are you writing for? Now, we're going to start very high level and we're going to get really granular along the way. Because we just have you, Moni, we're going to go ahead and we're going to work with you directly. Who is your market? Who do you want to come to your website to seek out your services and get your support? Who are they?
On my current website?
Whatever website you plan to utilize this process with, I want you to act as if it's already up and running and you want to bring people to it. That's going to be the most effective way for you to utilize this class tonight.
So the people I want to come to the site are parents and educators of children between 0 and 5.
Good. Awesome. That's very, very clear. Parents and educators of children 0 through 5. So let's write that down. That's who your market is. When you attract them or their interests, what do you ultimately want them to do?
Create more verbal interactions with children to help them increase vocabulary and to help them with their social emotional skills.
That's great. That's down the line. That's your ultimate goal. And that's a wonderful mission. So we need to, I got to fix my lighting. Hold on one second.
The reframe is only humorous because we can't control it. a lot of folks that come outside of those who are struggling with I remember during the times of rioting.
Okay, Moni. So let me ask you this. Do you want to get paid for this? Or is this a free service?
So like fireworks, gunshots. Because I'm used to hearing gunshots. I'm also fireworks.
Well, I definitely want to get paid for it. I haven't figured out a page structure yet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't ask that yet. That's fine. Okay. So the question is, do you want to get paid for it? And the answer is yes. Yes. So you initially want them to get paid. You want them to buy something from your website. That's the first way you want to get paid, correct?
Yes.
All right. And so when I ask the question, what do you want them to do? You want them to purchase your product from your website. Now, definitely all the other content that you provided is definitely part of your game plan. And we'll talk about that a little bit towards the end. That's more along the line of your cash system, which we'll discuss a little bit of. But this is the first tier of your client attraction marketing system. So you've got to think in terms of your initial interaction and your first call to action. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. And when do you want them to do that? When do you want them to buy your product? When they come to your website?
Yeah.
Right. So it's a attraction one and done interaction, for example. So like for me, I have multiple products on my website, but really the things on my website are part of the trail of breadcrumbs, if you will.
Okay.
That are leading people back to me. So I ultimately want them to hire me. The products along the way are for them to understand that I know what I'm talking about, that I am providing quality deliverables, and they can see for themselves or making a determination or an assessment that if they spent more time with me one-on-one or in a group specifically detailed for their purpose, they would get results, right? So essentially, as a byproduct of your book, your children's book, what your ultimate goal is, and I'm only assuming it from what you've said, it could be different, but it's that they might, instead of just providing this one book, they might purchase, instead of the one book, they might purchase a system from you. They might end up purchasing some coaching from you to work with their children or their grandchildren or their school system or their whatever it is, a system that you can help them with implementation for. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So what we're doing with this attraction marketing process is we're leaving breadcrumbs to bring that person back to us, which is why it needs to be a repetitive and consistent thing, okay? And when I said, when do you want them to do it? You want them to do it immediately, and you want them to do it again and again. So go ahead and write that down. When do I want them to do it? I want them to do it immediately, and I want them to do it again. And again and again and again.
Right.
Now, the fourth question is, how will you accomplish this? There's lots of different medium and modes to answer that how. Tonight, we're going to be addressing the how using social media specifically, okay?
Yes.
And the fifth question is, where does your ideal client hang out? Now, because we're talking again social media, we need to differentiate between the different social media platforms that and determine which one is best for your particular audience. So parents and educators of children 0 to 5 would primarily hang out in 2 of the platforms that I could consider off the top of my head, which would be, the parents would probably be in the Facebook platform, and the educators would possibly be in the LinkedIn platform, right? So that's 2 platforms that you can create a systematic approach to. If you have not done any regular, consistent social media marketing, I would encourage you to choose one. If you have already done some social media marketing in the past, then I would encourage you to do both, but to be very strategic and methodical, because both of them have 2 very different languages. So it's not like you can just post the same thing in
Right.
both places without making any modifications to it.
Makes
All
sense.
right?
Mhm.
So in those mediums, there are lots of different, in those platforms, there are lots of different mediums that work in each platform. For example, Facebook and LinkedIn, since those are the 2 that you have, and I will give this caveat, I have built my business using Facebook. Although many of my potential clients are active in LinkedIn, I chose not to use LinkedIn, and I have focused very successfully using only Facebook marketing. Now, after I think it's been about 5 years, I do plan to integrate a little bit more LinkedIn into my social media marketing, but my expertise is in Facebook. However, I know how they both work, and I suspect, at least up to this point, that what I'm sharing is accurate and will work for both platforms, okay? So the mediums that are most prominent in those platforms, as we've spoken about before, there are 4 mediums. Now, again, this directly applies to Facebook, and I think everything except for the last 2, there's 5 mediums, everything except for the last 2 could apply also to LinkedIn. So the first one is a text post. That is an attractive text post. That is an informational post that has a problem, a solution, and a benefit to using you. There's another component that every post needs to have in some way or another, or at least another post throughout the day should have this. So it should have a problem, an easy to understand problem that your solution addresses. So again, for example, with your children's book, helping children 0 to 5 with literacy and verbal interaction, it could be a problem that is statistical, a statistical problem. More and more children are entering pre-kindergarten and have not mastered the basic words or sight words on this list, or whatever the case might be, right? And then you introduce yourself as the solution. Well, we have 10 of those in our first volume with this children's book, and how the kids could actually benefit from sitting with a grandparent, hearing, seeing, and interacting. Again, I don't know as much about your product as you do, but you'll have to get really deep in. It needs to be easily understood what problem is being supported with your solution. Now, one of the other participants of tonight's class is Dr. Deborah. She'll be probably checking in the recording. She has already had some of this training in the past. She has several problems that she works with people that that relate directly to areas of grief and pain and areas where they might need deliverance. In order to successfully attract the people, you need to be able to speak the language that they can see themselves in it. It's very important for me to say that, because many of you are very, very well versed, highly educated, and really, really know a lot about your solution. But you know so much that you forget that there was a time where you didn't know it. And all you knew was what hurt. I need you to remember what hurt. What it felt like that your child couldn't read, or the children you were working with were not interacting at this level. Think of it from the perspective of the parent, and that's what you're putting out in your post. That's what you're putting out. Even if you're doing it as a story, which is even more captivating. Where you worked with the situation with your child for time and time again, and after a certain amount of time, you finally discovered that this was the key. Now, in sharing that, you've introduced the problem and yourself as the solution. Then the benefit came. What was that benefit? The benefit might have been, in your case, again, the self-esteem of that child was raised. The benefit might have been that their grades increased, that their behavior improved, because a lot of time acting out is directly associated with feeling like a failure in something, right? So you want to present it in story format so that the reader is drawn in. Again, your problem, your solution, and then your benefit. And then you must always have a call to action, at least 3 out of the 4 posts of your day. At least 3 out of the 4 posts of your day need to have a call to action. I encourage you to understand that you don't have to put it in all of them, that you could sometimes just share what's going on in the world. You may have found another child that's dealing with this, that you wish that you could reach out to their parent, and you don't give a call to action in that, because you want your audience to know that the reason why you do this is because you care for people and you want to make money, but not just because you want to make money and you don't care whether or not people get the results. People buy from people who they know, like, and trust. And so you want to build that know, like, and trust factor. I want to make sure that I'm not going too fast, but I have a lot to cover and we've only got an hour. So do you have any questions at this point? Have you gotten any value out of anything that I've said so far?
Yes.
Absolutely. Awesome. Is there anything you'd like to share? Something specific that struck out to you?
I'm just thinking about being the breadcrumb example that you gave, and just going back to thinking about the story and how I got to where I am.
Awesome. Capture that, because that story is going to be something that you go back to over and over again to draw people in. Here's something else that I personally just began to embrace. As a professional speaker and as a pastor, there are 2 different places that you come from. So the pastor doesn't get to say the same message every week, or else the flock will get kind of frustrated, right? But as a professional speaker, Les Brown has gone almost 3 decades telling the same story that we could almost recite with him. And everybody always nods their heads when I say that. He's made over $22 million with that story. So what does that tell you? That tells you that it's okay to tell it again, because everybody ain't heard you. And the people who did hear it, if you told it well, they're looking forward to hear it again. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time. You just get to tell the story from different perspectives. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about the mediums, because we talked about the text post. That's right. The information, right? There's no visual in that. The second medium is an image post. That's what what we call the memes, the MEMEs, right? Those are the image posts that you may have a picture that's easy to understand. It has the same elements that the text would be, which is a problem, a solution, and a benefit, right? You may have a child just sitting sadly in that picture, or a grandparent cuddling that child, or whatever. Just again, using your elements that I'm just thinking about specifically for your business. But each of us has a storyline. That pictograph now gets to tell that story. The image post actually has a further reach, particularly on Facebook, but also according to some of the statistics that I've read now on LinkedIn, far more reach than the text-only post. Far more reach. So that's a hint for us, right? We want to get these messages further. That means we've got to include content in them that people will be attracted to, and that whichever platform we're on will also give us reach. Be mindful, once again, that all of the traffic that I have gained from using these methodologies has been organic. I have not paid for any ads, and I do not intend to pay for any ads unless and until somebody can give me a guaranteed return on investment, because I feel like that's just throwing money in a hole that I never see the result of return from. I don't understand how it works. And Facebook is so fickle. They change things when and if they ever feel like it. So that's why I don't fool with it. But if you know something I don't know, feel free. The image post is the second on the list for getting your information out. This third one is oftentimes the scariest one, but the most profitable one. And it is a live video. Live video. For many people, just believing that I got to turn on my camera and look into it and talk to nobody is the scariest thing that they could do. But truthfully, it is the most highly rewarding thing that you can do for your business for a couple of reasons. Inside that live video, you've got a box, a description box. In that description box, you can put that same story. You can put the link to your website. You can put any other benefits in there, and then you can tell them about it. I don't know about you, but I know I have sent emails to people that go unread or unseen or misunderstood. And then when I talk to them on the phone, they're like, oh yeah, why didn't you tell me about that? I would have bought that. I'd be like, sugar, check your email. I put it in there. It's not the same. When we get to communicate body to body, face to face, even if it's virtually, we create an interaction with people that is far more reaching than anything that they could possibly read. And it actually accelerates the know, like, and trust factor faster than you could with just content and posting alone. Now, the fourth and the fifth options are really for someone who is really ready to take the bull by the horns and who is really ready to implement some serious practices. I suggest if you don't have any process in place yet, you start with the first three, which we're going to delve into a little bit more deeply in just a moment. But I want you to know what these last two are just for future references. The first is a newsletter. Newsletters pull together not just with information that you want to throw on people, but also testimonies from people who may have used your product or your services. Also, statistical or data information that you might have pulled from another website that you get to share with your people that's in line with what it is that you do. So if, for example, for me as a women's empowerment coach and a coach of coaches, the statistics that are saying that more and more people post-COVID-19 are going to be looking into personal development. The season of the coach is upon us, right? It's great for me to say that, but it's even better for me to highlight an article that I read that says that, and then tell my group, you guys need to get ready for this because CNN said so or somebody said so, and I've got a class coming up and you need to come get on it, right? It is increasing the engagement by putting more information out there. The last of the five is a group. It is a group. Having a Facebook group is definitely a way to build your breadcrumb system. Again, I call it a cash system, which I'll talk a little bit about at the end. But having a Facebook group is like giving people the opportunity to be in your classroom and get the knowledge and wisdom that you have to impart. And then you're able to share with them more information as one collective audience. You don't have to go talking to each person. You don't have to wonder whether or not your Facebook post reached them. By creating a group that specifically addresses the issue that you solve with your products and services, you then create for yourself a referral base, because these people hang out with you enough to know, yeah, Moni knows what she's talking about. it creates for you an opportunity to also cross market your products, because maybe they work with children. So instead of having a group that only needs your products personally, having a group that works with the people who work with the people who need your products is also beneficial, because now they could be a third-party vendor. Imagine if instead of selling one book, you sold 10 books to a third-party vendor because they had a class that they wanted to be able to disseminate these to their parents, and they bought them from you because they knew about your group, they knew about your classes, they knew about what you offer, they knew about how you could benefit their children, and they want to take that to their market. So building groups has that benefit. So we're going to go back now to our first three. We're talking about your text post, we're talking about your image post, and we're talking about your live video post. You've got to create your frequency calendar, because these are not things that can be done hit or miss. In order to create your frequency calendar, you first identify how much time you are putting into the marketing of your business. Now, most people envision time as a weekly construct because we're used to working a weekly schedule of 40 hours a week. So most people conceptualize time in that way. If it's 40 hours a week and there's 4 weeks in the month and there's 160 hours in the month, if you're planning to be full-time in your business and you're going to give your business 40 hours, then you've got to determine what percentage of that business is going to be marketing. Until your business is bringing in constant and consistent revenue, your marketing needs to be the biggest piece of what your business does. Your marketing can be anywhere from 70 to 80 to 90%, simply because without marketing and sales, and in this moment I'll put them together, although they are separate, but without marketing and sales, your business is truly just a hobby. And we want these businesses to be businesses. A lot of times business owners who are entrepreneurs are really, really heavily involved in content creation, product creation, education, and research. All of those things are very, very important components, but none of them pay the bills. And we must consider the importance of paying your bills so that you can pay yourself and so that you can grow your business. So for you, Moni, how much time are you allocating to your business as a whole? Is it a part-time business right now, or is it a full-time business?
Well, it's kind of both, because it's what I do at my job. So this would be an extension of what I do at my job.
Okay, so your job is, do you work a 40-hour week for your job?
Yes.
Yeah. And so of those 40 hours that you work for your job, are you able to do any of this? You're working
Yes.
that job.
Yes.
So when you say yes, what is the?
At your list, I worked backwards, because we do have a Facebook group. I do a newsletter, and I do the text post. So,
but you do this for your job.
I actually, no, that's on my personal page that I do those 3 things.
Okay, good. So are you saying that you do them on your job's time, or you do them?
Well, I actually contribute the same type of thing to the job as well. So
okay.
It's kind of just duplicating.
Okay, so we need to know how many hours are you going to be able to put on your business?
A day?
4
to 5 a day on my business itself.
That's okay. That's how many hours you're able to do on your business. Okay. Yeah. Hold on one second. your business as a whole. So I'm gonna go 5 hours times how many days a week?
I would say 5, but not Monday through Friday.
Yeah, I don't care which days they are. So 25 hours a week.
Yes.
Okay. That's 108 hours a month. And what percentage of that time will you be spending on marketing?
Well, now I know I need to be spending at least 80% of that on marketing.
Okay. Let's see what that looks like for you. That's about 86 hours a week.
Okay. A month.
I'm sorry, a month. 86 hours a month divided by 4.33 is about 19 hours a week,
Okay.
20 hours a week. Okay. Now, of those 20 hours, how many days of the week are you going to market?
Well, I think I should market 7 days a week, and that way it stays in front and I stay consistent.
As long as you can stay consistent. I'm not telling you to do anything that you're not going to do every day. I'm telling you to be consistent at whatever you decide to do. Dr. Deborah, I believe, has a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday schedule for her live broadcasts. Dr. Nala, I can't remember what she said. I think Tuyani has a once a week, who is another person that will be watching this recording. But whatever that is, all I'm saying is that we need to be committed to it and consistent to it. I have been doing a live broadcast Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. for the past 4 years, consistently. Only days off are weekends and some holidays. The people that are connected to me know where to find me. They also know that I'm a professional. That's also increased not only the clients that I have, but also sponsors and other people who want their message out on as regular and consistent a basis as my show is, because they know that that's where I'll be. So if 5 days, 4 days, 7 days, 3 days, whatever that is, we need to set up what works best for you.
So I think I'll start out with 5 days.
Okay.
I can commit to that.
Okay, so we're dividing your 20 by 5. That's going to give you 4 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're not looking at 4 hours of consistent posting and marketing and all of that, right? We're creating a consistent schedule that you can now plug these activities in. Of these 4 hours a day, I personally break them up in blocks of 1 hour. Okay, 1 hour blocks. So now you have 4 1-hour blocks 5 days a week. Where would you like to put hour number 1?
Good question. I would say the text post.
Say it again.
Is that what the text post or one of the?
No, I'm sorry. Let me clarify that, okay? That's good. We'll talk about which medium you're going to put there next. When I say hour 1, where are you going to put hour 1? Your first hour of marketing in the day. It could be a text post. It could be an image post. It could be a video post. I don't care what it is at this point yet. I'm just saying your first hour of the day of marketing, what time is it?
Oh, what time? I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so time would be probably between 7 and 8 a.m.
A.m. Okay. 7 and 8 a.m. The reason why we're making it specific is many people who have already worked with me know that I believe in specification and clarification. Those are the last 2 steps of the 5-step manifestation process, because the truth of the matter is, if you don't put it on your schedule, it ain't gonna get done. It's just not going to get done. everything that's on my calendar, when I get up and I look at it, it gets done. If it's not on the calendar, thank you, then it does not happen and it does not get done. Thank you. So your first hour of your day is at 7 a.m. At 7 a.m., you are going to have a 1 hour block of marketing time. So from 7 to 8. Now you get to strategically determine what you're going to put in there. Am I going to do a text post or an image post? Am I going to go talk to some people in a few strategic Facebook groups? Am I going to inbox some people? Whatever it is that you're going to do, those things could change, but the activity is for marketing. So 1 hour of marketing. I encourage you to set aside an hour or two of marketing preparation out of your 20-hour marketing budget so that you can be prepared for each of these marketing blocks. Now, another thing that I don't do, that many people do, is use tools like Hootsuite to schedule posts. I don't do that because they don't come across authentically to me, to my audience. They don't come across as if they are me, because the timing may be off. There may be something going on in the world. And if I've written this a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and then I just have it automatically put out, it doesn't always jive with what's going on in the world. Whereas if I have a topic, now what I will do is give myself a list of topics. And if I have that topic established, now I can easily write a piece of content for that moment, in that moment, right? That will still be relevant of whatever I might have watched or whatever I might have seen. Again, as a coach and a women's empowerment coach, I know that I often deal with people who are dealing with limiting beliefs, imposter syndrome, lack of clients, just any number of things that go along with coaching, right? So what I do is I create myself a long list of topics that may relate to what my clients need, going back to my list of who is my client and what do I want them to do. And then when I get up for my time period, I'm able to go look at that list and say, I'll pick this one. And now I can write that post really quickly and put it out there. I also believe with the images, if you keep a number of images ready for yourself, and I use Canva have you heard of Canva?
Yes.
Okay, I use Canva to create images that have pictures with them so that I can easily, pick images that I can easily put words on so that I can easily convert them real quick on the spot to put out. So I recommend you using a tool like that. Okay. So that's hour one. Now, hour two. Hour two of your day, what time of day is that?
12 to 1.
12 to 1 during lunch. That's great. That makes sense because parents and educators also have the same schedule. It may be more to the 1 o'clock side for parents because they got to feed the kids and put them down, but the educators would very likely be on lunch break at that time. So remember that when you're writing your post, you're speaking directly to your audience. So don't write them generically. Picture in your mind like you're talking to one of them. The best posts are the ones that speak directly to you, directly to the person that you're wanting to reach. So for myself, when I am writing that post, I'm also thinking of who I'm telling it to. Because if you try to tell it to everyone, no one will feel like you're talking to them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you want to talk directly to them. Now, do you plan on incorporating any live video in your marketing, attraction marketing system?
Not yet. I'm working on that.
What's the delay?
Just having the space to be able to do it, honestly.
What kind of space?
Well, like noise free. Yeah, so that it's professional versus, I'm sending you this from home kind of thing.
Well, you certainly don't want it to look thrown together, but professional is relative because right now about 80% of the world is working from home. Even when you call a professional organization like UPS, they have a message that says many of our agents are working from home. Please excuse any natural and organic noise in the background. They may have children around and so on and so forth. I was very surprised when I heard that, but it made perfect sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So bear in mind that as long as you can still communicate effectively with your audience, you really don't have to be studio grade level quality in order to attract the audience, because our audience demographics are shifting. People are moving home. They want to know that this is something that's doable from their own natural habitat. They don't have a classroom set up. These moms, these stay-at-home moms right now, they've got bedrooms that they got to put kids at desks at. They got kitchen tables. They want to see that what they're trying to do is possible. And by you showing up naturally and organically and still showing them how it should be done, it can actually reach more than you might think.
Okay.
That being said, I do want you to consider, even if you can't do live video, to consider doing pre-recorded video. Okay. Pre-recorded, like if you're gonna go out and sit in a park or sit in your backyard or wherever, I don't know where you physically are, but where you can control your environment better. You can set it, do it at a time, do it in the middle of the night when everybody is asleep, record your session or your training or whatever, and then upload it into the system on a specific time every day. Okay. Again, specific time is very consistent. If not necessarily every day, but at whatever schedule you plan to do. Now, do you have an idea of when you would do any video? How many times a week would you consider doing any video uploads?
I think initially once a week. Mm-hmm. Be consistent between 6 and 7.
Okay. 6 and 7 p.m.?
Yes.
Do you know what day of the week?
Probably a Wednesday.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of what days my evening meetings are.
Mm-hmm. It should be convenient for you, and it should also be convenient or in line with your particular audience, right? So, believe it or not, parents, particularly moms, we have found, I have a couple of jewelry reps and makeup reps that they found 10 p.m. is a great live video time. Oh, because wow. The kids are in bed. Whatever show they were watching, although people don't really watch shows on live TV anymore, but whatever show they're watching is usually from 9 to 10. And a lot of times they're just in bed, but they haven't quite nodded off yet. So 10 p.m. is a great time where parents might be available, particularly moms might be available to consume some of your content.
Okay.
Okay. So now we've got 3 hours established of your 4-hour day and 5 days a week. And I would suggest that that last hour would be your end of the night posts, just staying relevant before people go to bed, as well as getting content ready for the morning so that when you get ready to get up at 7, you don't really have to think hard about it. That's a little bit different than having it staged a month out, because again, stuff can get stale. Information can become stale. It can just not be as relevant or authentic feeling, but it'll still give you the feeling of preparation.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now understand that as your business increases, meaning as you get more customers and clients, your marketing time will shrink. You'll have less time for marketing because you will be doing fulfillment, right? So you'll have to actually be fulfilling. But it's very, very important not to fall prey to forgetting to do marketing at all, because we'll go through the what is it called? The all or nothing seasons, right? So you market. Following all that marketing, you got a lot more coming in, right? But following that a lot more coming in, you're going to go back into a slump if you have not maintained any consistent marketing at the same time of that delivery. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? So you want to shrink your marketing after you start getting results. You want to shrink it. Maybe instead of being 20 hours, you'll go down to 10, but you never, ever, ever want to stop. And you always want to keep your consistent live marketing schedule. Whatever you did with live marketing scheduling, you always want to keep that consistent, because that's the most difficult audience to build, and it's the easiest audience to lose. They'll move on to the next one. All right. Now, we got 8 minutes left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain a little bit more about using I'm going to send a worksheet out about using the worksheet, about setting up your calendar, about using your calendaring for that, and then a little bit about the cash system. So again, what we're doing with the attraction marketing is we're letting people find us, and then we're leaving breadcrumbs to take them where we want them to go, right? We want them to find us. We want them to buy your book. We want them to find us. We want them to join your group. We want them to, whatever those things are, but we want to increase incrementally the amount of value that they are getting from you, and also increase incrementally the amount of money that they are paying you for that value. So at the top tier, which is what we're talking about now, is the C of your cash system. It's the C, which stands for complimentary. Complimentary is anything from $0 to $50, right? You're not getting a lot of money. You can't live on it, but the purpose of that is to attract more people into your sphere.
Okay.
So that's that C in your cash system. When we talked in the beginning, you asked me, you said to me, I haven't figured out what the next step is in that other thing, or whatever the other thing is in this other thing. I get that, but those other things are the other pieces of your cash system. So the C, the complimentary, is where you're bringing people into your funnel. The complimentary is always one to many. It's always a lower price point. It's, like I said, $50 or less. They don't have to mortgage the house. They don't have to sell a kidney. They can just make an investment. They can watch your show for free, get value. Then they say, I think I might want to get that book. They'll buy the book. I might want to get the ebook. Yeah, I might want to get something for worksheets. She's got a 15-page worksheet kit with vocabulary and images. I want to get that too. Whatever those little things, you might have volumes of those where it's a whole set. That is where the cash system is born. So from complimentary, you go to affordable. The affordable might be actually a class for educators and parents. Affordable is anywhere from $50 to $150, right? It may be just an opportunity for them to really hear more about what it is that you offer, for them to hear more about how they can get the results that they want. They're not ready to marry you, but they'll take you out on a date, right? So it'll be between $50 and $150. They didn't have to consult their spouse to spend that money. It's still within reach. What you want to get them to from there is the S in your cash system. The S stands for systems. That's where, like I mentioned, you'll have 5 or 6 volumes of data for them to consume incrementally. Again, this is without you. Nothing that I've talked about so far is one-on-one. Everything is one to many, right? So if you got one person giving you $150 for an hour, that's not necessarily that great. But if you got 6 or 10 people in that class paying you $150 for that hour, then you're actually making some money. You're giving some value, but you're being compensated for that value, right? I had 6 people register for this class at $50 each. That's pretty good. That's good for my time. That's $300 for the hour. That's not bad. So what you want to do is create those affordable options that lead to your systems. Your systems is what you're providing them with much more detail, steps for them to follow. It may come with flashcards. It may come with a group where they're working with you over a course of six weeks or 6 months to have a particular outcome. Those systems can run a little bit higher. Your systems will be anywhere from $100 a week, $150 a week, or $500 for a 6-week session or something like that. But again, it's still in a group. It's still in a group. The last letter of your cash system, the H, is for high end. Your high end are for the people who have already believed that you know what you know. They've already decided that you are the one that's going to help them to get the outcome that they want. They have already determined that they want to make an investment in themselves, and they don't want to wait for other people to catch up. They want to work one-on-one with you. High end are the people that are ready to make the $2,000 to $5,000 investment to work with you for 6 weeks, 3 months, 6 months. That is how you take that breadcrumb that we talked about in the beginning, and you lead them where you want them to go so that they can get the results that you want to provide for them and the children whose lives you want to impact. How does that sound?
Makes sense.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I know that I covered everything that I wanted to cover. I hope that you have taken enough notes. I will be sending out the worksheet with the workbook for you to really plot the information that you took and even set up the schedule for yourself. And you'll be able to do that on your own. Or if you decide to, you'll also be getting a follow-up email about our 6-week program. In the 6 weeks, we will actually create the content, create the program. We will actually work together to show you the tools that I use to do my live recording. Whether you choose to do video or audio, we've got some tools for podcasting as well, and really show you how to get from where you are right now into a fully functional system that is regimented to bring you the people to your website, to you, leave the breadcrumbs that you want so that you can get that shmoney and help the families and the children that you want to help. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. We'll get that out to you shortly within the next couple of days. And I certainly hope that you have found value in this session today. Do you have any questions?
No, not that I can think of offhand. I have to go in and look at Canva because I know you've talked about it before.
Yeah.
When we were doing our e-commerce sites. So, because I don't know how to create a meme. So,
well, we'll do some of that in the 6 weeks. We'll actually do some hands-on of the Canva. We'll do some hands-on live broadcasting. We'll do some hands-on podcasting. You'll see how all the tools work. It'll really be step by step where we're walking through it together over the course of those 6 weeks.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Following y'all forever, Future Leaders LLC and all that good stuff.
That's right. I love it. I love it. Future Leaders LLC.
Took me a while to get it off the ground and moving, but
it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. You just keep pushing. We'll get that together and we'll make it happen.
All right.
Let me know once your illustrators have finalized the product for you. We'll get it out there.
Okay, I will.
All right, Monica.
Have a good one.
You too.